All right, thank you for joining me for your notes that say area of triangles and trapezoids. This is our geometry unit. You're on student handout number 4, which I believe was handed out to you on Tuesday, the 25th of February. All right, so it says 2 different figures are sketched and labeled below. Complete the T-chart to compare their similarities and differences. Okay. So how are these two guys similar? Well, I'm looking and they have the same dimensions, okay? Length and width, base times height, whatever you want to call it. Base and height, we'll call that, okay? Because both of them have a base of 8 and a height of 9. It really doesn't matter which one's base and which one's height, okay? All right, but now let's look at how are these different? Well, maybe you can, maybe you can't tell, but to me, it appears that that triangle is only half the area of the rectangle. So we're going to take a second and make sure. All right, so I've traced over my triangle. I'm going to take this, if I can figure out how to move it, and flip it. Try to put it on the rectangle. Hang on. Okay, and I want you to see that the triangle only has half the area of the rectangle. Or if you want to think about it, 2 triangles, you'd have to have 2 triangles to make the area of the rectangle, okay? So let's talk about some differences. Okay, so what I wrote was that the triangle's area is half of what the rectangle's area is, or in other words, it takes 2 triangles to equal that 1 rectangle, okay? All right, if the formula for finding the area of a rectangle is base times height, then how could you describe the formula for finding the area of a triangle? Well, let's think about it. The triangle's area we just saw was only half of the rectangle's. So what we could do is we could take the area of the rectangle and divide it by 2 to get the area of a triangle. All right, so I've written down what we've concluded. If this is the area of a rectangle, then the area of a triangle is half of that. So the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2, or we could just say 1/2 base times height, the same thing. Dividing by 2 and multiplying by half is exactly the same mathematical process. All right. What is the area of the rectangle? What's the area of the triangle? So now we're going to take the numbers that we have and actually do some calculations. Okay, so the area of the rectangle is 8 centimeters for the base, 9 centimeters for the height. 8 times 9 is 72. And I had centimeters times centimeters. So I put a little squared just to show that it's an area because I multiplied centimeters times centimeters. Okay, area of the triangle is going to be base times height divided by 2. 8 times 9 is 72, which is what we got here. But now we have to say 72 divided by 2. 72 divided by 2 is 36. And it's still centimeters squared because I still multiplied centimeters times centimeters and then just divided by plain old 2. All right, triangle 1, it says, well, the instructions say count the dimensions of the first figure below and then determine its area. Okay, so looking at the rectangle, it's 5 units for the base and 7 units for the height. So the rectangle's area is 5 times 7, which is 35. What is the formula for the triangle? Remember that the formula for a triangle is going to be 1/2 of the base times the height, or you can say base times height divided by 2. We already know that base times height is 35. So basically, we take 35 and say times 1/2, or 35 divided by 2. Let's see. 5 times 7. I'm having to write small because they don't give me a whole lot of room. 5 times 7 is 35, divided by 2, or multiplied by 1/2, and that is 17.5, which is what they want down here, I guess. 0.5. And I don't, you know what, we're going to leave units off because I'm not sure what the unit is. You can just say units squared because we don't know what they are. All right, so let's go over here and let's look at this. We have a triangle. This time, our base is from here to here, which is 3.5. How high is our triangle? Is right here, which is 2. You don't use this third one because it's not a base and it's also not the height. Okay? So again, formula for the triangle, area is going to be base times height divided by 2. Base is 3.5 times height, which is 2, divided by 2, and you're going to get 3.5 because 3.5 times 2 is 7, and then 7 times 2, you're back to 3.5. Units. Oh, we have units this time. Meters squared. Okay. All right, let's try triangle number 3. Our base is 14 inches. Our height is 16 inches. So area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2, which is the same as saying 1/2 base times height. Plug in my values. I'm actually going to go down here where I've got a little bit more room. My base is 14. My height is 16. And then I'm going to divide that by 2. Okay. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of shorthand. I'm going to go ahead and just be like, hey, 16 is really 2 times 8. So cancel a 2 and a 2. 14 times 8. Let's see. I think it's 112. 1, 1, 2. I'll double check. 14 times 8. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 1 is 8. Yep, 112. Okay. And this time we do have a unit of inches, so it's inches squared. Okay. Plug in my values. That's down here. All right. And if you don't understand what I did here, just do the 14 times the 16, get a total, and then divide by 2. Okay. How do you determine the height of a triangle? The height of the triangle is, it has to be perpendicular to the base. Okay. Here, it was perpendicular to the base. Here, it was perpendicular to the base. Here, it was perpendicular to the base. Here, it's perpendicular to the base. We draw that little square in there to show that these two sides are meeting at a 90-degree angle. Okay, here's the base. There's your 90-degree angle, so this is the height. Don't use that. Don't use this. It's not the height. Okay, so how do you determine? So the height of the triangle is how tall the triangle is from the base to the tallest point, and the height makes a 90-degree angle with the base of the triangle. Okay, so let me clean that up so you can write it down. Okay, so I was kind of running out of room, but what I said was the height of the triangle is how tall it is from the base to its tallest point, and the height makes a 90-degree angle with the base. You've got to make sure that you're picking one that's a 90-degree angle to the base. All right, when you're ready, join me on the back.